we turn to our times and we see a sad spectacle. I often hear from our youth this question: why do we need to study our faith? Can we not just live our faith? Initially, the question caught me somewhat by surprise. I found it a bit astonishing. The Holy Fathers, the greatest minds and spiritual heroes, spent their entire lives plumbing the depths of divine wisdom, while we ask, why do I need to study my faith? Furthermore, if we wish to pursue a certain career, we know that we need to put in some time learning a science or trade. As for the science of sciences, the art of perfecting ourselves, the salvation of the soul, we ask, why do I need to study that? Or, just live your faith. If that is an honest statement, then fine. But I'm afraid that most of the time it is simply an excuse. It is a symptom that for the most part, as Orthodox, we do not assign the Church the proper meaning in our lives. There are many exceptions to this, including those of you in the room tonight, because I see your efforts in coming here as proof of your search for meaning in life. But by and large, Orthodox have come to see the Church as a place you go on weekends in order to fulfill your moral obligations and get a sense of community. And that in the best of cases. That is a good start, but if one were to suggest something more, a greater dedication, the response is bewilderment. One of my students told me the story of how somebody asked her, "You study at a seminary? Why?" What? Why? I have a suggestion. Though we live in a heliocentric solar system, we also live in a Christocentric universe. Or rather, we live in a universe penetrated through and through with Christ, the Son of Righteousness. Everything that exists finds its meaning in Christ. Without Christ, nothing has meaning. To exist and turn away from existence, that is Christ, is meaningless. In fact, it is demonic. But most Christians would agree with me on this and say, of course, Christ is central to my life. To this I would answer, if that is the case, then you should have no qualms about dedicating your life to the service of the Church, which is Christ's body. But here is where things get uncomfortable, because the Church on earth is not made up of saints, but of those striving for sanctity. The Church is persecuted from within and without. Persecutions from unbelievers can be harsh, but the divisions which arise within the Church are the most hurtful. Not only that, there is first and foremost the inner struggle fought on the battleground of the human heart, which is split between good and evil. So when you get down to the grit of it, life in the Church is a great struggle. To assume responsibility for our own failings and also the failings of others, and to bear with them. We want to shirk that responsibility. But therein lies the mistake. We forget that in the words of St. Justin of Celia, in all respects, the organism of the Church is the most complex known to man. Why? Because it is a unique theanthropic organism in which all divine and human mysteries and all divine and human powers constitute one body. The Church is the most perfect organization because it is the most perfect organism, the theanthropic organism. God and man are united in it in a spirit-inspired and grace-filled theanthropic organism. God lives in and through man, and man lives in and through God. So, if we have confined ourselves to the proverbial cave in which we only see the dim light at the entrance, how will we extricate ourselves from this cave and come to enjoy the beautiful vision of the many-lighted heaven of the Church, which shines a guiding light on all who believe? If we have established that Christ and His Holy Church are the ultimate meaning in our life, how do we go about pursuing that meaning? I cannot answer that question. Each of us has to answer it individually, for life is too varied and much prayer, counsel, and enlightenment are necessary. And in fact, I am not qualified to answer such a question, seeing that I do not think that I even have begun the real pursuit of meaning. But I have an ideal, and that is of paramount importance. St. Elizabeth, the Grand Duchess of Russia, always used to say, you have to have an ideal in life. So I suggest we look to the saints who set a standard for perfection, who show us clearly how far we are from doing our best. If we do not reach the standard, at least we will have pushed ourselves a little harder. And if we do not reach the high mark, the humility we gain from it, according to St. John of the Ladder, might be even better for us than achieving the high goal.